is even happening in the RV space of things right now? Like, look at this. It looks like Austin Powers Groovy, baby. All right, one. And welcome everybody. Josh RV, Nerd of Bishop's RV, down here at Forest River, feeling groovy, baby, where apparently they're getting that Austin Powers vibe up here at Salem Wildwood. It's funny, when I walked into this RV, my initial impression was it feels to me like those 50s and 60s houses that, like, when you go to visit, you're like, oh, this looks really fun and cool. Why don't they keep doing this? Well, eventually, everything that's old becomes new again, and this is the new Zen concept. So Salem Wildwood did view with the maximum campsite windows, they did veranda with the deck, and now they're doing Zen, and we are one of the very first people that were invited down to take a look at this. There's a few of us running around here today with the camera action, and we are really curious to know what you think about this. Like, I personally feel it's very, very fun. They gave up maybe some functional storage space, but at the same time, I think that they've kind of reinvented some things in weird ways that you may actually like. I don't know. You might look at this and go, this is absolutely garbage. I'm not sure. I think it's very, very fun to go through. And I think that if I was going to have friends over to entertain for an evening, this right here would be an absolute... The RV itself is a conversation piece, not to mention the fact that we've got like the dual power awnings on the outside. The little mini camp kitchenette is also very cool, the heated enclosed belly. You can put a little solar on this if you want to. It's prepped for a stackable washer dryer if you're going to spend a longer time in it. But it's the twin swivel chairs in the back. If you don't care about the swivel pushback recliner things, if you want to add a desk to something, this would be an amazing RV to like add a desk, create a pet bed space or whatever the heck you're looking for. I don't know. So this is new. We need all the feedback we can get from you. And if you appreciate how we get down here and risk skin cancer in the sun to make that happen for you, hit that subscribe button and let's go. And if I had to describe what I think is happening here, I think what Salem and Wildwood called the view concept for the last couple years has evolved into the Zen concept. It's not all about exclusively like some weird hidden bunk room within a slide. It's about a lot of window coverage, and it's about an experience in the RV. This most similarly reminds me of their previous 27RE, which I'm suspecting will probably be discontinued in lieu of this floor plan coming out right here. And it's a weird combination of ultra classic and ultra modern kind of meeting one another in the middle. There's like a lot of this radius work and a lot of really modern lighting and stuff like that. Giant window coverage is just an absolute hallmark of this, but it has some of those like classic 50s, 60s feels and vibes to me. It like the old houses where they had, you know, like some of those central divider beams just kind of helping split up an open room to give it some definition. They're doing a lot of that in here. But by not just throwing a traditional sofa on the back wall of this, they came up with bigger windows than anybody could ever normally hope to come up with. Now, as you notice, you do have power outlets down below those windows for either of these. And these are totally free-floating swivel rocking chairs with a pushback recliner kind of function integrated into them. And there's a lot of aspects of this RV that Salem Wildwood actually had to develop because there's only so many suppliers to the industry. So they had to like come up with a bunch of stuff for those suppliers to develop, like this giant rear window, those chairs. Salem Wildwood came up with these. And chances are you'll see stuff like this used by other brands now. Now you might notice that your big vertical windows do have the blackout roller shades, but on our rear window, we have a more household style kind of draw curtain situation. But notice how it's almost like a recessed alcove. I can't even speak. You know what I'm saying? I think I just had a stroke. But they actually create like this dedicated little borderline track space for that curtain right there. Now, what's kind of nice is this is one of the most social, chit-chat, engaging, fun, have people over, have a couple drinks, set out the charcuterie board over here, and maybe some like organic watermelon or whatever, Rebecca. It's not even that expensive. It's only like $14 an ounce or whatever. You get the idea. It's just a very fun, like if you want to have people over and have a little bit of a campsite party, this feels like the place everyone's going to want to hang out. But they've been taking notes. They saw how many people loved the idea of a power televator. You know, where the TV can go away if you don't want to watch TV. And if you like this, I think we should actually adopt the name the Odievator. Odievator, because the fella that helped make this happen, his name, I just about slipped getting up. His name is Odie. And he's he really pushed really hard because televators, or Odievators as they were, can be an expensive object, relatively speaking, in the world of RV design. And as smexy and snazzy as this RV kind of looks, a lot of this was done with very low budget. Like, you know, they did have to kind of design and develop all this. And I love the look of this. This is so fun and so cool to me. But I'm also not an interior decorator. So if you look at this and you're like, this is atrocious, I'm not going to tell you I have any taste. I just think it's fun. I see the same thing all day, every day in RVs. So when I get to see something different like this crazy contraption, it's exciting for me. And personally, I am a fan of these sort of extended island dining bar wombo combos right here. I don't know that I necessarily need that much dining space, especially in a couple's RV, you know, because this is not a big bad bunkhouse or anything like that. For the most part, I don't need more seating and more dining space than this thing offers. But, you know, if I want to just use the 2 chairs, if I want to bring a couple more out, like I have spaces, I have opportunities, I have places I can put that. And have you noticed you have dual floor flush slide systems on this, rack and pinion slide systems here. Now this right here is a little bit of a larger sofa. You might notice they went with like the 3-seat sofa. The one that we're currently in, this is still like a proof of concept prototype. This is technically a trifold sleeper. It will not be when it goes into production because it doesn't have room over here to open up. So it will probably just be a fold down bifold sofa, but it's longer. So it works. Like if an adult sized person wants to lay down and have a little bit of a daytime snooze space there, they absolutely could. It's not the most campsite window coverage I've ever seen, but when you're sitting back here in the seating spaces, your window coverage is also not too bad. And you might notice the all of your sidewall windows open for airflow. I want to phrase it that way because your gigantic rear picture window does not open for airflow. Where this starts to get a little bit more interesting is right over here. Now, at a glance, I had a suspicion there was something special going on with that mirror. And I'll tell you what I thought. I thought we were going to find a speakeasy. I thought we were going to find a little hidden place where somebody could keep some hooch. But check this out. It's the microwave of all things. The last thing I expected to find when I opened that up was a microwave. And why I think that's very interesting is there are some people who don't like the microwave below the countertop level because they don't want to have to bend down to their kneecaps to get a bowl of Campbell's soup or a Hot Pocket out of the thing. But there's also people who don't want a microwave mounted way up high. That's adjustable, removable shelving in that pantry, by the way. But there's people who don't want a microwave way up high so they don't spill that hot soup down their arms. Mid-mounted microwaves are very rare, but actually the most functional. It's very interesting to me, and I'm very curious to know what you think about this. Also, they got kind of creative with little spaces here, like little power outlet, charging pocket next to the sofa there, all kinds of extra little detail things wherever they could. I don't know. Is this a hit? Is this a miss? What do you think about this? I want to tell you, one of my personal first concerns is that if this mirror is only glued on and you're pulling on the mirror to act as a door, I'm wondering how long that's going to hold on before, like if the RV gets really hot while it's in storage and you pull that open, I'm hoping the mirror doesn't just pull off of that backer. I don't know if that'll happen or not. That's a suspicion that I have, but we will see how things actually turn out in practice, I suppose. Down here, below the sink, it's just fully wide open, and that creates just some perfect space down there for like wastebaskets and whatnot. And one of the things I noticed, it almost has, again, those classic, not even just 50, 60 vibes, but classic camper vibes with these almost like central divider walls in the slides, helping more obviously create a difference between kitchen and living space. Now, I also think the rest of the kitchen storage is similarly interesting. I've not seen Salem Wildwood do a lot of anti-gravity doors like this. Now, it is kind of tricky to get up there because the door doesn't open a little bit further. But look at this little interesting doodad, this little drop-down kind of mini overhead garage spice rack access thing. Just like all that, it looks like just black on black vertical slatting. It actually is all cabinet space. It's just a little different. Also very interesting, I think, is their wastebasket solution. They just have this little ring that a wastebasket slots into, and it mounts actually on the cabinet door. And if you don't feel good about that for whatever reason, like if you're like, man, I load really heavy wet garbage and things sometimes, you might not want to leave it on there. Let me get over on the other side of this thing. You could always take that trash can out and you could put it under the sink. Because we already saw that big wide open space there. I like that they put the power outlets down here, but it's like they forgot about this center wall divider, because I don't know what good that outlet over there is going to be, but that outlet over there behind all the spoons and stuff, that will be very useful for like little appliance stations. Similarly, when we were over looking at the mirror wave, the microwave behind a mirror, the mirror wave, ladies and gentlemen, there's power outlets over there as well. So depending on what you want to do with it, it could, serve a number of different purposes over in that space. But if you put an appliance there, you want to get to the microwave, the mirror's in the way, like you could also create yourself a bit of a hiccup point. So I don't know, I guess do the thing that I never do and just use your head. Anyway, enough about my life. Moving on from there. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm pretty sure the entire kitchen's going to be lost when we close the slide. So if that's important to you, maybe take note of that. Again, they're doing a lot of this radius work. What is that light flicker? Somebody must have left one of the lights not all the way up. I apologize. In person, I can't see that flicker function. On camera, though, it is very uncomfortable for some people. Let me get you actually in here around the corner, because at a glance, it looks like there's no sort of medicine cabinet space. And I'm not sure this necessarily qualifies as medicine cabinet space, but what you have here are these little side pocket shelves. They're very wide open. I don't know that I necessarily love that. I love the look of this crazy curvature mirror up here. Obviously, they're doing a lot of that in these things, but I also don't know that it's the most effective medicine cabinet kind of solution. Working our way around the corner over here, we do have well, this is not yet, but these will be going to, oh, no, kind of is. They're basically going to be going to all porcelain foot flush toilets. I found the space around that pretty darn fluffy friendly. The shower, I did not have headroom issues in, because this is 6'9" from floor to ceiling. And this model is built on the full Salem, full Wildwood platform. It's not made on Cruise Light X Light, the little brother, which is only 6.5 foot tall. Little spaces to dry some towels there. You could always fold some towels up also and kind of stuff them in that little shelf space right there additionally. Now this big blocky thing that's of no use to us in the bathroom, this whole wall, is actually a bedroom bonus closet that is also prepped and capable for a stackable washer dryer. Now, as we come into the bedroom, there are some, there's no bedroom. Oh, okay. I don't know what the reasoning is, but the bedroom door is currently not here. I for half a second, I'm like, no way, they just didn't give it a bedroom door. They did. I can see where the hinges would go. Why the bedroom door is not here, I don't know. But good news, when this goes into production, instead of the prototype that we're looking at, it will have a bedroom door. Now, I haven't overtly pointed this out so far yet, but you do have the, the slow rise day-night shades equipped on these right here. Some pretty awesome window coverage even here in the bedroom. You got the little pet step in case you got some four-legged furry friends to help get them up to bed. The trick with that is it also limits your ability to walk around the bed. At the same time, though, this versatile bed creates such a wide open floor space in here where you can actually stand up and get dressed and do some RV yoga. It's not too bad. Pretty functional. These overhead cabinets, interestingly, like in the kitchen, they threw struts on them. In the bedroom, they don't seem to. So you do have overhead storage space over here. This guy is a hanging closet as well. You might notice they swapped out the bedspread. For some reason, they went to this crazy Picasso kind of bedspread look on this thing. And this is what they call a custom king, but it is in more realistic terms what is known as a little bit of an Olympic queen bed. And depending on what shirt you wear, you could actually potentially blend in completely invisibly with this crazy Picasso bedspread that you have right here. Like, nobody could even detect that you were there as long as you stayed still enough. It's kind of like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. He learned how to become invisible by sitting still. So this is 66 inches wide by 78 inches long from the factory. Basically an Olympic queen, which is 66 by 80. And you might have noticed you had these storage totes down below. What gets a little more interesting, oh, before I forget, these are 50 amp service. And if you want to, you can smack a second air conditioner right up in there, straight from the factory level as desired. Now, I'm actually going to do a Luke knee walker maneuver to get you over here on the bedroom because I still have my shoes on. Oh, hello. Okay, so our fuse box converter panel is actually down here in the bedroom. I think that's actually a really good location for it because it's out of the way and it's not going to be blocked by a slide out. Like if they tried to hide that in the living room somewhere, it'd be problematic. TV hookup straight across from the bed right there. And then we have door number 2. And I don't know why it's called door number 2. I don't even know if it is called door number 2. You see the power outlets up there. That's where you would potentially plug in washer dryer units, which this thing is either a giant closet or it's prepped for a combo or stackable washer dryer. And the door didn't want to hold itself shut, so I have these shoe-shaped door stoppers right there doing the trick for me, which is why, if you ever notice me running around in these videos with dirty shoes, that's the reasoning for it right there. Now, over here, as I suspected, when you close the slides, you will lose your snack-tastic kitchen access. So this thing is basically solid at a travel stop if you need to take a nap or take a crap. Now here's the rub with this one. All this cool space, these opposing slides, all the fun features, they come at the expense of a chunk of extra length and weight. Like you might notice this has a gross vehicle weight, a GVW, over 11,000 pounds, although nicely over 2,500 pounds of cargo carry capacity, so you actually can load the sucker. But basically my 2 cents, I don't think half ton should apply. I think this should be a 3/4 ton and up kind of camper. And I'm sure that there will be plenty of places that will happily take your money and hitch this up to your half ton and bury your suspension and overload your brakes and your drivetrain. I just don't want to be one of them. Now, the camper we're looking at today says Salem. Wildwood is literally the exact same thing. There's a bunch of us video jockeys running around today, so we decided to do this crazy thing and display a cargo space with, wait for it, cargo inside of it. I know, it's wild! But you've also got a dry erase board on the bottom side of the baggage door right there, which is handy for me to keep track of how many drinks I've imbibed on a given day. The good news, I joke about that. I am the lightest of lightweights. When it comes to drinking, I'm an ultralight. 2 drinks and I'm 2 sheets to the wind is basically how it works. The dual power awnings, I'm kind of glad they did that instead of trying to bury one awning over the top of the entire slide and lose a bunch of that space. It does mean that you do have a split in the awning right next to the door, which means you have a little bit of rain spritzing you in the face if you are coming and going on a rainy day. But I feel like overall, for the fair weather kind of days, it'll be a better experience. Outdoor TV kind of V-bracket in the middle right there. You got your JBL speakers mounted down low, which I can tolerate. I don't like speakers mounted all the way up high. So if you're going to do it, that's the way I would do it. The power stabilizers over here, giving you, you know, taking the herky-jerkiness out with just push button ease and simplicity. We also do have an enclosed and forced air heated underbelly down here, which will make this a little more comfortable in those shoulder seasons. Now, if it's, you know, in the Dakotas and the wind's blowing and it's -50, no, this RV is probably not going to stay very warm. I don't know. They're not made and tested for that kind of extremes. You know, you got Dad's medicine cabinet out here, actually below the microwave in that slide, which is not a phrase I would utter very often, but applies right here. And you see the, this is called fusion lighting. I always call it lightsaber lighting or Tron lighting, though. The little glow beam lights. There's another one of those up front by the baggage door. At night, under your awnings, it just really casts a lot of light around. Now, they had to get this window custom made for this RV. At the time, this doesn't open for airflow. I'm not projecting that it will because it's just such a big honking chunk of glass. But the good news, I don't know that I care. It's kind of nice having those beams out of the way. The rest of the windows do open for airflow. That's the good news. The good news is not that I don't care. The good news is that it's not a big deal. Something else that I actually didn't expect, but I am glad to see they nailed, is a single sewer outlet right here. Now, you will technically notice when I get up close to this, there are actually technically 2 sewer hookups, but all of your black and gray tanks all exhaust out of one single consolidated point. If you utilize the washer dryer hookup, that's what this is. The washer dryer does not have an onboard holding tank, so you're going to need to make sure you have on-site sewer, because you'll, you know, have a pretty hefty quantity of water that you'll need to handle there, basically. And you might notice they're sticking with that retro retro metal, the tin skin right here. It's a little bit smoother versus the Ruffles have ridges, crinkle cut kind of campers that a lot of things have out there. This skin is actually about 30% thicker, so more impact resistant. It weighs more, it costs more. They do offer what they call their platinum package, though. It won't change the structure from stick built. It'll always be a wood built camper. But if you want fiberglass skin, you can get what I call a stick and slick construction, which also gives it that kind of easy cleaning look. It'll weigh a little more, it'll cost a little more. People are like, why does fiberglass weigh more? I thought fiberglass weighed less. Lamination will reduce weight, not fiberglass. I can get into more details on that, but that's the long and the short of it real quick here. What do you think, guys? Is this a nailed it or is this a failed it? Is it fun or is it not fun? I'll work out a better way of figuring out how to say that later. Anyway, you might be curious what one of these things might run. Double check the links in the video description that we leave you for pricing and availability. And short of that, look forward to seeing you again. Now, this is the first of the Zen subset of Salem Wildwood. It's not a technical series. It's still just a Salem or a Wildwood, but there's a few other Zens coming. I am here today capturing a few more. So let us know what you think. I'll get you all the footage I can. And if you want to catch the next one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.